Hello ladies and gentlemen, GamingMedley here, and you are watching my series MedleyTalks, a series where I give you a medley of my thoughts on what I'm currently interested in the sphere of video gaming. Today we're going to be talking about Destiny's Redbull promotion, the consequences of it, what you gain through it, and what I think about it. Let's begin. So, Destiny and Bungie's promotion deal has had a little bit of a controversial history, starting out with the fact that Redbull actually announced Destiny's new expansion, The Taken King, before Bungie even announced it, and it's also just been part of the rather contentious business practices that Activision has chosen to make in terms of how they sell the Destiny game in general. There have been 3 expansion packs released in the first year of Destiny, and there is slated to be a lot more. This just ended year 1, which was kind of like phase 1 of the development post-release process for Destiny. There's supposedly going to be more. We know that Bungie has a 5-year deal with Activision for the Destiny line, and Destiny 2 is going to be coming out, so you can expect a lot more Destiny to be coming down the pipeline to you. But it's been kind of controversial in terms of how Activision has actually sold the product to the customers, because these expansion packs have been sold at anywhere from $20 to $60 in the case of the Taken King to the player, and a lot of players actually feel like this is stuff that should have just been in the base game in the first place. It was recently revealed in a lawsuit between Destiny composer Marty O'Donnell and his employer Bungie and Activision, where he was fighting to get back the rights to his music, his company shares, and the cash that they had deprived him of after they, quote, fired him without reason. He ended up winning the case. But the reason I'm bringing any of this up is because it was recently revealed that the Destiny base game had been significantly edited down right before release, which actually ended up pushing back the release date. In case any of you remember this, it was supposed to be released quite a few months earlier than it was actually released, and all of the editing out of story content that they had already completed for the game is what caused Destiny to be released later. This was revealed in that lawsuit, and of course it caused a lot of people to kind of scratch their heads and wonder if the stuff that was in the expansions that have been being released over the year was actually stuff that was initially in the base game that then got edited out just so it could be sold to players later, because Activision knew that Destiny would be a profitable, milkable product. That seems like something Activision would do. Activision is typically pretty sketchy with shit like this, it's good to keep in mind, and they would definitely stoop so far as to cut a bunch of content out of the base game just so they could sell it to their fans later, because that's just what Activision likes to do. We've seen it with Blizzard and the taking out of all of the cool mounts from World of Warcraft and the putting of those mounts into the Blizzard store so you have to pay money for them. Activision really likes cutting out content in order to sell it to players for more money. And they also really like cutting out content that players will actually pay for, which is a whole nother level of sketchy manipulation I'm not going to get into right now. But in addition to these paid expansions, which a lot of people thought should have been part of the base game, there was also this whole promotion deal with Redbull which was announced. Now, I think it is fair to say for this Redbull promotion that none of the stuff you get from doing this Redbull promotion is game-breaking. It's basically just a skin for Ghost, your AI companion, a new Sparrow, which are like the speeder things you ride around in for anybody who hasn't played Destiny, and why the fuck are you watching this video, and some XP boosts. Now, those things are useful, yes, but they're not things that you like need to have in the game. They're not things that your player character needs in order to succeed in the world of Destiny. They're just things that are nice to have. I think the reason most people have an issue with the Redbull promotion is because people don't like paying $60, or now, I mean, people who have bought the expansions have paid over $90 for this game by now. People don't like paying that much money for a product and still feeling like they are not getting the full version of the product. People don't like feeling like they're still being scammed out of something when they've poured easily $100 into a game. At that point, people feel like they should be getting everything the game has to offer, and I'm not going to say they're wrong, because I think that's a very reasonable stance to take on the whole thing. So let's actually just talk about some of the stuff this promotion gives you. I mentioned the XP boosts. This doesn't seem like something that would help a lot, but since the Taken King is actually switching over from the previous leveling system where you used light tiered armor to determine your level, so your armor level kind of determined your effective player level, they're switching from that system to a solely XP focused leveling system, which means that these XP boosts will actually help you out in terms of getting your character up to an effective level, or the level you want them at, whereas before, if you had armor at the level that you wanted to be, your player character would effectively be that level. So they can be useful, but it's not something that's extremely game-breaking or something that you absolutely need. Now, part of the Destiny promotion challenges are 2 level 40 versions of the new strikes that you have to complete in under 18 minutes. If you complete them in under 18 minutes, you get your Redbull promotion reward. So the first reward for this, after you complete the strike Saber of the level 40 version in under 18 minutes, is you get the Redbull Sparrow, which is colored like a Red Bull can. I don't think it's particularly appealing because I don't think Red Bull cans are appealing, but it's fast and it can do tricks, so yay. And if you complete the other strike, the Shield Brothers, in under 18 minutes at level 40, then you get the super fast version of this Red Bull Sparrow, which puts it at a speed apparently comparable to other legendary speeders in the game. Comparable to other legendary sparrows in the game, I should say. I always get them mixed up just because they look so damn much like speeders from Star Wars, but other sparrows, and we don't know if this will actually be at the same speed as other legendary sparrows, if it will be faster, if it will be a little bit slower, who knows. I mean, super fast sparrows are extremely useful to have, but it's not something that you're going to, like, die over if you don't have. The only other reward is for playing PvP, you get a Red Bull styled Ghost Shell. It doesn't have any listed perks yet, and it looks alright. It doesn't look great. I think there are much better ones you can get in the game, but if people really love the look of it, then I guess it's something you'll want. Now, throughout their whole Red Bull promotion Destiny deal, Redbull.com has actually had a blog that has described a esports athlete Flamesword and his fire team going through and completing everything you need to do in order to get these rewards. What most people noticed about this was it's actually a fairly lengthy process in order to get this stuff. You kind of have to do at least 5 different things, and doing all of them actually takes a significant amount of time. We're talking 3 new strikes, we are talking a new patrol, we're talking some PvP. It's not stuff that's just going to be finished really quickly, and a lot of people weren't expecting that. What a lot of people were expecting was just some stupid little bullshit story quest they would throw in the game that would be like, hey, you meet Red Bullops, the avatar of the Red Bull god, and he wants to send you on a mission, and if you complete it, you get a Ghost Shell, a super fast Sparrow, and some XP boost. No, instead, it's actually a fairly lengthy process to acquire all of this stuff, which a lot of people feel kind of shafted by because they feel like Bungie could have actually spent more time developing the game that most consumers will be getting, aka one that doesn't have any Red Bull promotion stuff, rather than developing this whole lengthy process for doing the Red Bull quest. At the same time, it's not like this stuff is stuff that won't be accessible to the main player base. It's important to note that there is one quest that's going to be locked away by the Red Bull promotion, but in January 2016, everybody will actually be able to access it. So the Red Bull promotion, other than the Sparrow and the Ghost Shell and the XP boost, doesn't have stuff that's like directly locked away from the fans, and it doesn't have anything game-breaking in it, which I think is really good. You run into the risk of some totally pay-to-win bullshit promotion when you do these kind of things, and I think it's important to note that the Red Bull promotion is totally not that, so anybody who says it's pay-to-win or that you're getting something that you absolutely need from this promotion needs to pull their head out of the sand and get the fuck out, because that's totally not what it is at all. However, I totally understand people who are infuriated by this. As I already said, once you pay $100 or more for a game, you righteously feel entitled to everything in that game. That's a lot of money. That's not just like a little paltry sum people would put down. The average median living wage in the United States right now is $25,000. People are spending hundreds of dollars a week on groceries, they're spending thousands on mortgages, insurances. $100 is like a week of groceries for a lot of people. That's like a significant amount of money to invest in something. And a lot of people didn't really even think they invested it in the right way when they actually got Destiny, and what they got was a completely watered down version of what was supposed to be this incredible story-rich RPG. Now, there's no doubt about it, Destiny is a really good game. It's really polished, it's really fun to play, it's a good game. It is objectively a good game. The shooting is well done, it's grindy, sure, but if you like multiplayer games, it's a really good multiplayer, grindfest, loot box, sandbox MMO. But a lot of people weren't looking for that when they bought Destiny, and yet they ended up investing so many hours into it, they feel like they have to keep playing it, so they keep buying the expansions, and then they find out that they still aren't getting everything in the game, despite the fact that they feel like they didn't even initially get what they were promised by the game, which was more story, and they feel like they've had to shell out all this extra money just to get the story stuff that they should have originally gotten in the base version of the game, and then they find out they have to shell out more money to Redbull in order to get stuff in the game. It's understandable why people would be frustrated about this. I think this is the reason why cross-company promotions just shouldn't really be a thing. They never turn out well. We saw it in the whole gaming journalism debacle where the guy was reviewing, what was it? I think it might have been like Halo or Call of Duty, and he had the Doritos next to him, and he just looked like his soul was being eaten out of him by a Dementor as he was talking. These cross-company promotions never turn out to be anything other than divisive for the player base, which is why I wish that it wouldn't happen so often. It's kind of hard for me to just see games say like, hey, you know, instead of actually devoting time to giving the player base cool new skins for stuff, or a cool new Sparrow, or XP boost for doing some in-game missions, we're going to restrict all of that behind buying different Red Bull cans. That's something that shouldn't necessarily happen. It's not wrong for people to feel like they should be getting this content, because if you think about it, they probably should. Now, of course, there are other factors. You could say, like, well, this game might not even have come out if it hadn't been so sponsored by Red Bull. If Red Bull hadn't have given Destiny so much money, Destiny might be in worse shape, it might be a worse game. That's completely true also. So it's kind of a very gray line where you have to answer the question of, is it okay for a company to do a cross-company promotion with a company that's sponsoring their product if it lets them make their product as good as it can possibly be? You have to ask yourself if you're willing to sacrifice some stuff that you feel you should get in order for the game to have more money and therefore hopefully be a better product. It's a thin line to walk, and I don't know if there's necessarily a super right answer. I'm typically a very consumerist, positive, or consumer-sided guy. I typically say, give the consumers what's best for them. Give the consumers what they deserve. This content should have been for the consumers, and it should have been unlocked by doing things in-game, not buying Red Bull cans. But then you run into the whole issue of how much money did Red Bull give Destiny in return for this promotion, and how much did that improve the Destiny game? I haven't actually looked this up, but it's probably safe to say that Bungie got a sizable amount of money from the Red Bull guys in order to make their game with, and in return all they had to do was this little kind of promotional thing. And although it is lengthier than most promotional things like this turn out to be, it's still not that much in the scope of a game where people spend months and months and months trying to grind out one weapon. I think it's a very thin line that you have to walk. I think that maybe Destiny should have offered some other things to their player base as a gesture of goodwill to say like, yeah, you know, you can get this Red Bull skin for your Ghost if you just buy a can of Red Bull or 5 cans of Red Bull, but if you work really hard and do something else in-game, you can also unlock this super cool Ghost skin that's just as valuable to the player. That would have been nice to see. I mean, there's probably going to be stuff like that. If there is, then that's great. If there's not, then that's a problem, because that means they prioritized the cross-company promotion over actually just creating cool content that everybody in their player base could get after paying for the game. Overall, guys, I think this is a complicated issue. I think it's one that needed to be talked about. I just wanted to get it out of me. I just wanted to rant about it for a little. And although I don't feel like I've come to any concrete conclusions, I do feel like one conclusion I've come to is that it would be great if Destiny offered players some cool or really cool unlockable Ghost skins or Sparrows for doing stuff that required some time devotion in the game that maybe they couldn't do if they did the Red Bull quest, or maybe that's too harsh. Maybe they should just be able to do them, but at least things that seem to balance out the Redbull quest stuff so people didn't feel like they were getting shafted by not getting the Redbull content, and I also think it's important for people to calm down about the Redbull promotion content because it actually isn't anything super game breaking. Whether or not it's something that should have happened or be allowed to happen in the game is pretty much up to the consumer. You have to decide whether you think it was okay for this promotional event to have happened because Red Bull gave Bungie money to make Destiny with, which allowed Destiny to be a better game, or if you would have rather had a potentially worse game but no promotional event to go along with the game. Essentially, it's up to you guys to form your own thoughts on that, but I just wanted to get this video out there and kind of create a forum of discussion for this topic and kind of say what I thought about it. Alright, thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to leave a like, a dislike, a sub, a comment, a favorite, a share, whatever you think this video deserves. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you all so much for watching. Medley out.